Good morning, everybody. Apologize for getting this warm up out a little bit late today. Better late than never, right? All right, let's do this. You know the drill. Copy all this down. Go try it on your own, right? You press pause. Go try it on your own. Come back. Look for hints. You can press pause again multiple times as you, okay, now I'm going to go try the rest. And then see how you did. And then follow along so you know how to get all the answers, okay? All right, go ahead. I will see you soon. All right. We already got that first one done. My first period class helped me out with that. 6 times 7 is 42, and 6 plus 7 is 13. Right? The product of 6 and 7 is 42. The sum of 6 and 7 is 13. And we've already discussed the fact that you can reverse those because when you add or multiply, the order doesn't matter. It does matter big time when you subtract or divide, right? Right? 8 minus 2 is you have $8, you spend 2, you still got 6. 2 minus 8 is you have $2, you spend 8, you owe somebody 6. That's different. Where 6 plus 7 is the same as 7 plus 6, and 6 times 7. So commutative is multiplying and adding, but division and subtracting are different. All right, they are not commutative. Anyway, on to this one, 56 and 15. What two numbers work there? 8 and 7 or 7 and 8. And how about here? 4 tenths and 4 tenths, right? When you add, remember you got to line up those decimals, stack them one on top of another vertically. The decimal comes straight down. That's how I got that. When you multiply, you pretend there's no decimal. Go 4 times 4 is 16. But realize I had to move the decimal over once there to pretend that was a 4. Once there, that's a total of 2 places I moved the decimal. So you got to go back 2 places in your answer. That's how come that worked. Now, how's this one going to work? 16 hundredths and 1? Huh? Haha. Some of you recognized. I know Soleil did in my first period class. She figured that one out, right? 2 tenths and 8 tenths, because 2 times 8 is 16, right? But I had to move it over once there and once there, so back twice, boom. And when I add 2 tenths and 8 tenths, those numbers fit together well, right? When they fit together well, we call that compatible. 1.0 is the same as 1, okay? Good fit, compatible, like peanut butter and jelly, right? Grandma and grandpa. All right, so to write a fraction as a decimal, all you do is, and you want to write this down because it helps you remember it, divide bottom into top. What does that mean? 10 into 3. And you'll say, but Mr. Daniel, that won't fit. And it'll never fit unless you have an improper fraction, because the bottom won't fit into the top, because the bottom is always bigger than the top unless it's improper, right? So what do? Well, I'm dividing this so I can get a decimal, add a decimal, and bring it up. 3 is the same as 3.0, right? But now I can do this. 10 goes into 30 3 times. So 3 tenths is 3 tenths. If you weren't looking or if your eyes were closed, you said, why does he keep repeating himself? 3 tenths is 3 tenths, right? That's what you do to divide the bottom into the top. You divide 5 into 4. I did that on the back when I was showing the other class. Again, it won't fit. You add a decimal and a 0. Bring the decimal up. 5 goes into 40. 8 times. 8 tenths is 8 tenths. It's the same as 4 fifths. 4 fifths is the same as 8 tenths. Oh, man, this is confusing. No, take your time. Look at it. It's easy. Divide the bottom into the top. That's how you change a fraction to a decimal. Okay, last one, 23 hundredths. Now I'm dividing 100 into 23, but it won't fit. Add a decimal, bring it up. Now 100 goes into 230 twice, right? Because 2 times 100 is 200. I subtract, I get a 30. I got a remainder, add another 0. And then 100 goes into 300 3 times. Perfect fit. So 23 hundredths is 23 hundredths, right? That's how you say that as a decimal, right? So that is the answer to those 3. How about changing a decimal to a percent? Percent simply means per 100. So 3 tenths is the same as, how many is that? 3 per 10 is how many per tenths is how many hundredths? Well, what did I do to the 10 to make it 100? I multiplied it by 10. Do the same thing with the 3. 3 tenths is 30 per 100, 30%. Now, the easiest thing to do, though, is if I'm going from a decimal to a percent, is just move the decimal 2 spots to the right. 2 spots to the right. Okay, it started there, 0.3. I go 1, 2. Ooh, there's a spot there. Fill in the egg carton. It ends up being 30. 3 tenths is 30%. So what's that mean for 85 hundredths? Boom, boom. 85%. What does that mean for 8 tenths? Boom, boom. Fill the egg carton. 80%. How hard was that? All you have to do from a decimal to percent is move it 2 spots. So now you know how to change a fraction to a decimal and a decimal to percent. You can really change a fraction to percent by doing 2 steps. Okay, that's good to know. Now, how about writing something that's a fraction? Well, 85% is really, remember what does percent mean? Per 100. So that's 85 per 100. Any percent you can write over 100. 85% is 85 hundredths. Okay, 23 hundredths is 23 hundredths. 8 tenths is 8 tenths. The only thing that you want to do when you get your answer as a fraction is sometimes simplify. What does that mean? Well, if you know a number goes into the top and the bottom, then divide the top and the bottom by that number. Here I know 5 goes into 5 and 5 goes into a 0, right? All 5's in. So how many 5's equal 85? Well, you can count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85. 17 times, right? So 5 goes into 85 17 times. How many 5's go into 100? 20. 85% is the same as 17/20. Now, 23 is a prime number, so I cannot simplify that. 23 hundredths is 23 hundredths. But both of these are even, huh? So what number goes into every even number? 2. How many 2's fit into 8? How many 2's fit into 10? Okay. Now, what I did there is I did the magic wand backwards, right? I know that 2 goes into the top and bottom, so I said, okay, that means I can multiply a fraction times 2 over 2 and get 8 tenths. What times 2 equals 10? 5. What times 2 equals 8? See how I did that? Backwards. But when you get good at that, you're just going to say what goes into the top and bottom. How many times does 2 go into 8? 4. How many times 2 go into 10? 5. Okay, you get good at that. Now, what is this mess, Mr. Daniel? Why are you making me work so hard? Where? All right, this is an order of operations problem. OOO stands for order of operations. OOO, right? Order of operations. And what is that? That is the rule for what do you do first in math? Well, you always do parentheses first. It can be the simple parentheses like that. They can be the fancy ones like this. They can be the big old blocks like this, but you always do parentheses first. What comes next? Exponents. Do exponents next. What comes next? Multiply and divide, or divide and multiply from left to right. And what comes last? The boys. Adding and subtracting, or subtracting and adding from left to right. What does left to right mean? That means if I have a bunch of adding and subtracting, I'm just going to go work my way from left to right. But if I have any multiplying and dividing, I got to do those first before I do any adding and subtracting. So looking at this big problem, I got a set of parentheses there, a set there, a set there, and a set there. I'm going to do all those first. Okay, inside this set, I have exponents and subtracting and multiplying. What comes first out of those three things? Exponents. 16 squared is not 32, 16 times 16, everybody. 256. 2 to the third power is not 6, it's 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2. Don't add that last one. 8. Okay, so now what do I have? I have subtracting and multiplying. What comes first? Multiplying and dividing before any adding and subtracting. And you'll like this rule on this one. What's 8 times 7? So now I have 256 minus 56. That's easy, right? That parentheses comes to 200. What's this backslash mean again? You said divide. You're on it. Good. Now this parentheses 3 to the second power is not 6. It's 3 times 3. And 4 to the second power is not 8. It's 4 times 4. And what is the sum of 3 squared and 4 squared? 9 plus 16 is... So I got 200 divided by 25 here. Now this parentheses has parentheses inside, so I got to go do this first. 8 to the second power is not 16. 8 times 8. 6 to the second power is not 12. It's 6 times 6. And what is the sum of 8 squared and 6 squared? It's 64 plus 36. What does that equal? Nice even 100. And what's 10 squared? It's not 20. It's 10 times 10. 100. So I have 100 minus 100 on top here. What is that? 0 over 417 times this big, ugly, scary number. Well, what is 0 over 417? It's 0. What's 0 times anything? Haha. 0 times anything is anything. Is 0, right? So I get to, it doesn't matter what this equals. This scared you, but you didn't have to be scared of it because it didn't matter. You were going to make it disappear by multiplying it by 0, right? So that whole thing goes away. Poof. All you're left with is 200 divided by 25. What is that? That's Frosty, the snowman. All right, your answer on that is 8. Now, there's about 25 different steps on this problem. You could do 24 of them right, which is 96%, and still get the answer wrong. Don't get mad if you got the answer wrong. Find out where you went wrong, because you probably did a whole bunch of things right. Okay? But the final answer to that is 8. Hey, good luck on your homework today. Thank you for following along with me the whole way. I love it when you guys watch the whole warm-up. By the way, I was born in Asmara. I'm going to ask you guys that soon. And if you watched it, you're going to have the answer and get some Dean's points. All right. If you didn't watch this, you're not going to know that unless you remember me talking at the beginning of the year. All right. I'm going to start doing that on the warm-ups. All right. Have a good one, everybody.